He says he's setting up his end times church how he always wanted it to be with this apostolic network and house churches. So what will be the result of all this amazing stuff? This is one of the coolest visions I think Kirk's ever had. It came on May 12th of 2023. You can just close your eyes and listen if you want and just imagine with the Holy Spirit. Ask Holy Spirit to show you even more as I'm speaking, as I'm reading this to you. This is a vision in time of God's great reset. So I'll read it in Kirk's words. I, Kirk, am taken in the Spirit forward in time. I see fields, all with partially grown crops in them. They look very beautiful. There are rows upon rows of various kinds of plants. As I looked, I wondered if these crops were bioengineered or not. Maybe they were sprayed with herbicides or pesticide. They look so perfect. All green, no weeds or other variations. Just beautiful. Then I hear the Lord's voice. Prophet, look what can be done without poisoning the water, ground, or food that people will eat. I just blurted out, how, Lord? And I looked to my right. There was the Holy Spirit in the form of a man. And he said, all the crops of the world are now grown under the same guiding principles. The first being that whatever is produced must be healthy for consumption and also be grown in such a way as to benefit the earth. Then my mind went to how much oversight that must take to monitor all the produce of the world. Again, the Holy Spirit spoke. There is very little monitoring that is required. The people of the world have escaped from the lust for more riches, ever more and more. Farmers now grow and produce for the benefit of all. That is their mindset. But as a result of that, they actually produce more and of better quality and are paid better than ever. Their customers look for quality and are very concerned with their and their family's health and welfare. They are willing to pay more for what they desire. The next thing I knew, I was standing outside in a parking lot of what looked like a repair shop. I looked around, but I seemed to be alone. There was an overhead door open, and I felt compelled to walk towards it. As I stepped inside, I saw a number of vehicles. They looked quite different from what I was used to. They were very sleek and even sporty looking. A voice said, "Can I help you?" I said that I was just admiring the vehicles and I wasn't very familiar with them. An older gentleman stepped toward me and stuck out his hand. I shook it and we struck up a conversation. He said that the vehicles that were in the shop were very different from older technology ones. He could see that I was interested, but that I had no clue about what I was looking at. In a very kind and patient manner, he described to me how transportation had changed so much. He said the driving force of this change was honesty. All I could say was, "Really? How did honesty change a whole industry?" He said, "Well, honesty has really changed the whole world. But as far as transportation is concerned, people now look for a product that suits their needs and is produced in an ethical and healthy way. It is not merely economics or pride that governs what people purchase. The object is to benefit others, from the raw materials to the finished product, and gently use what the earth gives us in the way of materials to work with." Next, I was standing outside a hospital. It was of a medium or smaller size than I was used to. I doubt you could get lost inside, I thought. I was all alone again. I walked up to the double doors and walked in. There was a person just inside the door who greeted me and asked if I needed help finding someone. I said no, but I've never been here before. Could I look around? She said, "Sure, I would like to take you for a tour then." So we walked further into the building, and as we did, we were walking past all kinds of equipment for fitness, weights, stationary bikes, treadmills, etc. I asked if there was a health club that was located here too. She said no, that the patients were expected to exercise while they were there. It was standard procedure. She acted like I should know this. As we walked on, we came to a room, walked inside, and she turned toward me and simply stated that this was a standard patient's room. I looked around. There was a bed towards one end of the room, and it had a very nice couch and a couple of armchairs. It actually had the appearance of a very comfortable living room. She said that they also had extra beds in case someone would like to stay the night with the patient. I was so impressed at how inviting and relaxed the atmosphere was there. I inquired about the staff, like, where was everyone? Susan, which was her name, answered with a question. Well, who were you expecting to be here? So I asked, where were the security people? Where were the doctors? Where were the nurses? We stepped out of the room and she pointed to a doctor. She also pointed out a number of the staff and said what their specialty was. But they all wore street clothes, and unless you read their ID tags, which were very inconspicuous, you couldn't tell their profession. Then she said that they had no need for security personnel. I asked a few more questions. From what I gathered after my questions, there were actually very few hospitals, and the ones that existed were lightly used because people rarely needed them. Suddenly, I was standing in a grocery store, apparently in the produce section. As I looked, I was thinking how huge this produce area was. Most of the grocery area was taken up by the fresh produce. As I walked around, some of the things I noticed were that the people there were polite and unhurried, and I didn't see any cell phones. The processed food area was different too. I didn't see anything that was familiar to me. Some of the names on the packages were familiar, but the packaging was different. Nothing said organic, nothing said low fat or things like that. I picked up what I thought was a package of soup. I looked for the ingredient list and all it said was the contents of the soup, like potatoes, beans, etc. There were no strange chemical names or any preservatives named at all. I kept walking and I noticed an area in the store where people were sitting and talking and had cups in their hands. It was a coffee and tea bar and there was no charge for it, so I asked the person working there for a cup of tea. There were many kinds, so I just pointed to one that looked kind of plain. I took it and went and sat down. I was just looking around and feeling out of place, not really uncomfortable, but everything was so different. Just then, a young lady walked up to me and asked if she could sit at the table I was sitting by. I said, sure, and she sat diagonally across from me. I thought it strange that she would even think of doing that, me being a man and older than her. She then asked my name and I asked hers. Her name was Joy, so we started to talk. And I was also surprised how relaxed she was while talking with me. It was like we'd known each other or something. So I asked if she was a follower of Jesus, and she answered, well, yes, of course. And she looked at me kind of like, where are you from? I didn't think I should tell her that I actually lived in the past, so I said I'd been in a remote area for a long time. Could she tell me what happened while I was away? She asked if I knew of Donald J. Trump. I said, yes, I knew of him. She continued, well, the world is spoken of as before Trump and after Trump. He brought a great change to the world. He was God's anointed servant to bring the change to the world that Jesus paid for. This change is called God's Great Reset, and it was so dramatic that people all over the earth were changed because of it. Honesty and justice will never be taken for granted again. People are still studying what exactly went on, and they are still shocked to find out how corrupt, unjust, and cruel people were to each other back before the reset. But they all understand that it was Satan who was behind it all. We all the people of the world, have decided never to let that happen again. When all the evil ones were removed, that decision was easy. And that was the end of the word. That was the end of the vision.
That was an amazing vision. First of all, it was like I was there.
Yeah.
And walking around and actually talking to these people, and you can't, it's difficult to imagine being at a car dealer or a used car place or whatever, and having the person there tell you that things had changed because of honesty. Well, that's just a rare commodity, you know. The car industry.
It's bad.
It's difficult to, unless you're dealing with an individual, to get the truth about a vehicle that you want to purchase, and if you do get the truth about it, to pay the amount that's just and right for that vehicle. And it was...
And not only that, now they're making vehicles you never actually own because they make you have subscriptions and they turn off your vehicle if you don't do it how they want. And it's a terrible evil perpetrating on the people.
Yeah.
So honesty changes the world. It's amazing.
It is. It is amazing. And it's hard to imagine, we're so programmed to deal with dishonesty. When a car salesman or a used car salesman, it doesn't matter if they're being honest or if they aren't. In your mind, I don't trust that. It's the trust is just not there. But in this vision, there was trust, there was honesty, and this man was like different too, that he had time to spend with me. And was very polite and would, teach me about what was going on there. And it was like that wherever I went. The hospital was the same basic thing. Oh, sure, I'll take you around and give you a tour. And the honesty and the way that she presented things was so different than what I would have expected. It's the medical industry, or maybe pharmaceuticals or something like that, after COVID has come under a lot of scrutiny too, right? We don't just automatically trust whatever medication they would give us because we're concerned about side effects and so on. So it's kind of the same thing, that trust, that honesty was seen it's just a world that's so much different. And then of course the last one was the grocery store, where the products there were just totally different than I'm used to. And the product, like it read, the list of ingredients and stuff was like, are you kidding me? There's not these long words in there that I don't even know what they mean or how to pronounce them. And no, it's just straight up. This is what it is.
It's real food.
It's real food.
How weird.
So yeah.
All right. So the reason the Lord wanted us to end with this is because he says this is the end times to look forward to. He wants you to keep this vision in your heart, this vision in time. Do not, he says, get distracted with intellectual demonic teachings that seek to take your eyes off Jesus and put them on something else.
Welcome to Destiny Road, where we're committed to making a real difference in the fight against human trafficking. We proudly partner with organizations that rescue survivors and provide them with dignified employment opportunities, and also support these brave individuals on their journey to healing.
Our curated collection features crafted items from around the world, handmade jewelry, leather purses, bags, coffee and tea. We also offer books by authors Tiffany and Kirk. You can find their books through Amazon by searching for Tiffany Root.
Thank you for joining us in this important mission. Visit us online at destinyroadstore.com.